Hello friends, good morning and welcome to another session of Tech Tablet Daily Dose with Varun Rao. In today's session, the aim is to look and understand the basic level of technical questions asked for SAP HR in an interview, and we would also be looking at the general business expectations from an SAP HR consultant, right? And the most important bit, how do we answer in an interview, because this becomes one of the most important tangent if you want to get selected for any interview, and that if it's of technical nature, then your confidence does matter, right? So basically we would now be following a bottom down approach. Let's first answer how do we answer in an interview. So whenever you attend an interview and you know that you have a technical interview in place and that it is your skill which matters and it is not your communication which matters the most of us get prepared thoroughly on the technical part, but we are not able to present what we think, we are not able to present what we know. So this is where the main problem comes in and our chances of getting through go down, right? So hence, whatever you're answering, the most important tip that I would be giving to you is to keep your answer as confident as possible. You do not have to fumble, or you do not have to suddenly go silent. Even if you're wrong, it doesn't matter. You just have to keep answering and keep answering confidently, because to err is human, so we all are bound to make errors. So one question would definitely not decide your fate in front of the HR, but it is your attitude and it is your persona and it is your your take towards interview which would definitely create the best of the impact, right? So I hope you do well in the next interview that you're going and you try implementing these. There is nothing to get scared of. I see that there is a lot of people who get scared, and there are some people who are pretty confident, and the chances of people who are confident, I am not talking of overconfidence again, but the chances of people who are confident are a bit high as compared to the people who are scared or overconfident. So let's follow the middle path and let's ensure that we have a great interview the next time, right? So the first business expectation that any HR consultant should fulfill or should be able to fulfill is he should definitely be good with all the basic HR terms, like what's a payroll, the month in and month out, swipe in, time out, and the swipe in and the swipe out, like what is the cycle on which they pay, the employee numbers, and there's a whole lot of terminology which comes into SAP HR, and any employer would definitely expect the HR consultant to be well versed with these terminologies, right? And secondly, you should also be able to understand quickly how a company works with respect to its HR table or HR cycle, because not all companies follow a very similar cycle or a very similar framework. Like some companies might calculate the swipe in time, and some companies might calculate the time of your login into your system. So not all companies follow a very similar pattern of timing or employing or hiring and all. So right, there is a whole lot of difference, and you should be able to understand this as quickly as possible. So now let us look at some technical questions that are asked in SAP HR in an interview. The first is, what are the sub modules in SAP HR? Here are some. First is recruitment, which is personal administration. Then you have organization management, followed by personal development. Now there is a difference between PERSONAL, which is personal, and personnel. When we are talking of personnel, it means any person who is employed for a specific task to be performed, right? So that is personnel development. Training and event management, compensation management, personnel time management, payroll, MSS, which is manager self-service, and ESS, which is employee self-service. The second question is, what is an info type? Now this is quite important, I would say. Every individual has some information like first name, last name, date of birth, college name, etc., and all this, right? Now all these are defined in data fields, and these data fields are grouped into information units, right? They are like one information unit would have one specific kind of an information, okay? And these information units are called info types, and info types generally have names and 4-digit keys. Okay, info type 0002 is for personal data, and this stores employee's full name, date of birth, etc., like the personal record of an employee. All right, and an info type can generally have subtypes too. So this is the second question. The third is, which personal actions have you performed on an employee? Generally, there are some standard actions which are performed for any kind of an employee right from the date of his joining, and they are hire, change organizational unit or position, change of pay, transfer, terminate, retirement. All these are generally managed by the SAP HR consultant. Is it possible to configure a single payroll to pay an individual in multiple currencies? Let us just understand the question again. Is it possible to configure a single payroll to pay an individual in multiple currencies? Which means that, can an individual be paid in multiple currencies? As simple as that. The answer is no. A system can be configured to pay in multiple currencies, but it cannot pay a single person in multiple currencies. I don't think that is actually viable, right? How do you differentiate tax for different countries? Taxation has many use exits which can be created, right? And this generally happens when new versions are released, which SAP releases. How to group employees for their allowances in payroll? Go to the basic salary of India in payroll India and group the employees first, right? So this is the first step, and depending on their allowances to be paid, right? This is applied for differentiating the employees into groups depending on their pay structures as well. So initially you go to the basic salaries of India in the payroll India, and here you group the employees depending on the allowances to be paid. And this is also applied for differentiating the employees into groups, right? If you want to differentiate the employees into groups, even in that case, we follow the same pattern depending on their pay structures, or if it is, depending on whatever it is. So this is how it is done. Which time we have to consider while login time? As we've seen, there are two times that are generally considered. The first is swiping machine recorded time, and the second is system login time. Generally a company asks for either of these, but sometimes a company would want both of them. In that case, we discuss with the time administrator and we decide how it is to be designed as per the company's requirements. Where are the payroll results stored? Payroll results are generally stored in the PCL2 cluster, and these can be accessed using the transaction PC_pay result. How would you record time in SAP HR system? We can record time using either of the methods, that is online by time and administrators, or you can separate time recording systems, or you have cross application time sheets. We also have employee self-service system, and finally you have customer systems with an interface to the R3 systems, right? So these are the various ways in which time can be recorded. What is a match code W? Now this is another important question. Match code W provides a list of all personnel numbers in selected payroll area that have been rejected by the payroll run. Okay, so these are those numbers which have been rejected because of incorrect data, or there must be some inconsistency while the data is being fed into the system, right? It means that their payroll has not been able to run successfully. So personnel numbers are also included in match code W if personnel data is changed in the correction phase of your payroll run. So which means that even if you're changing your personal data, right, of any personal in your company, then even these would be included in the match code W of the payroll run, right? So these are some important questions that are asked. So do stay subscribed to Tech Tablet Daily Dose for the next video on SAP HR and many more modules and many other technologies. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Do stay subscribed to this channel for many more videos like these, as there's a lot of information yet to be exchanged between us. Thank you. Have a great day and all the very best.